Hi, this is Amanda Malik, and today I will be demonstrating how to make traditional Polish Kolaczkis. Kolaczkis are a Polish dessert which are made of a cream cheese dough and typically filled with either a fruit or a sweet cream filling. Because I come from the Polish heritage, Kolaczkis are something that have been a part of my family's traditions. They're always there on Christmas Eve at my family parties and something that my whole family enjoys together. So, in order to make Kolaczkis today, I will only need a few ingredients. The ingredients I need are 8 ounces of cream cheese here, which is at room temperature. I'll also be using 12 ounces of butter, 3 cups of flour, and then 28 ounces of fruit filling. So for these, I chose to go with raspberry and apricot. Another thing I'll be using later is powdered sugar. And before I get started, I just wanted to point out that there are different options. If you wanted to alter the recipe a little bit, that is an option. So today I chose to use cream cheese that had 1/3 reduced fat, and as well as butter, which was a light butter, also having reduced fat and overall calories. And the flour I'll be using today is a gluten-free flour. So there all are alterations you can make in the recipe just to make it a better fit for you. So to start today, I will be mixing the cream cheese and the butter together, and then mixing it well in a large bowl until it's light and fluffy. This is something a large bowl will definitely benefit having, just so you can assure everything fits well. So once this is well mixed, we're going to start adding the flour. And this flour we'll be adding 1 cup at a time, so we don't want to add the whole thing all at once. So here we'll start adding 1 cup of flour, and then mixing that well. And from here we'll continue to add more flour. So after mixing this, we would like to come to a nice dough consistency. And once this has reached the nice consistency, it does need to refrigerate for about an hour. So in order to do this, I'm simply going to wrap it in a plastic wrap and place it in the fridge for an hour. So now that the dough has had time to chill and rise in the fridge, it's now time to preheat the oven. So we'll go ahead and preheat that to 350 degrees. And from there we can begin rolling out the dough. So as we do this, an important thing to do is to cover the countertop with both powdered sugar and granulated sugar. So this will help just so the dough is not sticking to the surface as we roll it out. So here we'll add about an equal amount of each one to make sure it's well spread. You can even add some powdered sugar to the rolling pin, and this will do the same, just making sure that the dough isn't going to stick to the rolling pin either. So we'll go ahead and get the dough out here. So as we roll this, we're going to want it to be about a 1/4 inch thick. So it's kind of a thin consistency, but doing this will just help us have the best outcome with our Kolaczkis. So we'll go through here and make sure it's thin enough. Once we reach that 1/4 inch thick consistency, we'll be able to start cutting the dough. So here it looks like right about a 1/2 inch. We're going to go a little bit thinner on this one. And again, if the pin starts to stick at all, just add a little more powdered sugar on there. Alright, so now that we are about ready to start cutting our dough, there are a few different ways you could do this. For this one, I chose to use a pizza cutter just for convenience. You could also use a knife. So, as we do this, we want to cut to be about 2-inch squares on this one. So, go ahead and make our squares. And there are different shapes you could make Kolaczkis in, but the most traditional way would be these squares, and we'll fold them into a nice form at the end. Alright, so once we have our 2-inch squares here, now we get to begin to add the fruit filling. So with these, again I chose both the raspberry and the apricot filling. And you'll realize that even though we did place the sugar and the powdered sugar on the counter, it still might be a little bit difficult to get the dough off. So an easy thing to do would just be to use a spatula, and with those you can go ahead and remove that dough. So we'll get our squares moved over here. And then again, we can begin to add the jelly. So I'll start with the apricot filling here. Adding 1 teaspoon of filling. Go ahead and place that on. And then from here, like I mentioned before, we're going to fold the corners in. So one corner comes over on either side. And then as a result, it's going to be a nice shape here. So we'll go ahead and lightly grease the cookie sheet and place these on top, nice and lined up, and then we'll put them in the oven to bake. So the Kolaczkis have been in the oven for about 20 minutes now. They took a little bit longer than expected to finish, but I wanted to wait till the corners began to brown just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and take them out of the oven now. And taking them out, I'm just going to set them out to cool. So we do want these to reach room temperature, and we'll wait a little bit for that. Once they reach room temperature, we'll be able to cover them with powdered sugar and they will be finished. So now that the Kolaczkis have cooled, I put them out here on a plate, and I'm simply going to cover them with a little bit of powdered sugar. So to do this, I'll scoop a little bit in and shake it over. So with that, we have our final product, some traditional Polish Kolaczkis.